why do you think we're so, all of us, 5 of us in this room, why, without collusion, without sharing our opinions among each other before the video started, why do you think our impressions are so diametrically different to all the other well-known
We didn't get
reviews?
it for free.
I was dumbfounded thinking there's got to be something wrong with the speakers. There's got to be something because they sound...
I was shocked. I mean, there was no...
Wow, that's quite... I'm not kidding.
Oh, maybe I should take them home. Then I can stay asleep.
No, maybe, yeah. I
Yeah.
hope you...
In the audiophile world of YouTube, having a different opinion is an offense that is considered especially heinous. In Markham, Ontario, there are 3 dedicated audiophiles who investigate the internet for corrupt reviewers. These are employees of Audio Excellence. Just kidding. It's just the 3 old stooges, and it's just meant to be a joke. Don't take us too seriously.
Alex, are we recording?
Good morning, everyone. Adrian from Audio Excellence, Philip to my right, Lewis on the other side. Hope you're all doing well. So first of all, before I start, let me just say, as a reminder, thank you guys for supporting us on YouTube. As many of you know, the funds that we receive from YouTube, we match and we donate to the Salvation Army. And I think to date, we've donated about $36,000. So that's over maybe 2.5 years. Something like that. So thank you very much for supporting us. The other thing is, while we're on the topic of raising funds, as always, if you'd like, my playlist is $10. All you have to do is donate to the charity of your choice. Take a picture of the receipt, email it to me, info@audioexcellence.ca, and I'll send you the playlist from Tidal. And then Phillips is $20, and sooner or later we'll get Lewis to create his own playlist.
Lewis is going to be $30.
Yes, we'll get Lewis to create a playlist of all his favorite Jamaican music, and he'll pay you to take his playlist.
It's a lot of Peter Tosh,
all right,
whom you love so much.
The other thing is this: we're going to do 2 videos this morning, and as a policy, ever since we started this channel, we've always said that we would only review products that we represent, we carry, and we like, simply because this way the bias is obvious. We've paid for it, we know we like it, and now we're telling you why we like it. Having said that, we will always tell you also if we don't like it and why. For example, our last video on the peach tree.
Pre-DAC.
Yeah, I was vehement initially about the fact that it was a no for me. It was a fail because it popped. Anyway, you can watch the video. The guys will put the link in the description box. So we recently, I've received a lot of emails over the years asking us our opinions about the product that we're going to talk about today. One is the Buchardt S400, S400 Mk II, and the other one's the Denafrips Aries 2. So the Denafrips we'll cover in the next video. But and I've always said I've heard them in some of our clients' homes and so on, but because we don't carry it, I don't want to give an opinion about it, because if I don't like it, it would look like it's sour grapes. Anyway, now we own these 2 items. And because we own them, I think we can talk about our opinions, good and bad. So this video is going to be about the Buchardt. So fair warning, if you like what we have to say, great. If you don't, it's not because of sour grapes. We actually own these speakers, and we also own the Denafrips. All right, so Buchardt first. Lewis, what did you think?
Well,
first let me just tell you, the guys hooked it up to the Hagel H120. What was the source? What streamer was it? The Blue Sound. The Blue Sound, and both Alexes behind the camera and in front of the audio mic also had a chance to listen to it as well.
I didn't listen to it through the Blue Sound.
You didn't? What did you listen to?
I used the internal streamer.
Oh, okay, all right. So anyway, that's what was hooked up to it, the H120. And it's in our relatively small room. It's roughly about 10 by 12, but it's got a 20-foot ceiling. And it's the room that we use a lot of when we're demonstrating the smaller, more affordable products that we carry. Okay, Lewis, go ahead.
Well, I've often seen videos on this, the Buchardt S400 Mk II, and
Oh, wait. Sorry, I forgot to give the specs. I'm so sorry. So the specs are the Buchardt S400. Sorry, it's €2,000, which is approximately 2,700 Canadian at today's exchange rate, plus shipping and any brokerage and duties. Speaker has a 3/4 inch soft dome tweeter with waveguide, 6-inch paper cone mid-range woofer, and a 5x8-inch oval passive radiator. It's rated at 4 ohms. Sensitivity is rated at 88 dB, and the frequency response is 33 to 40 kilohertz plus or minus 3 dB in room. The size physically is 365 millimeters high, 180 millimeters wide, 280 millimeters deep, or 14.4 inches high, 7 inches wide, and 11 inches deep. 7.5 kilograms or 16.5 pounds each. The prices vary whether you get white or black, and then if you wanted wood finishes. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so we fired it up yesterday with the famous Hegel brand. As I would say, it's the Hegel. To me, it's like one of my favorite actresses, Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
You've
What was that
never
movie?
seen Misery?
Oh, I love that. Scary. To this day, I won't watch that movie.
Fantastic movie. Fantastic.
Do you guys know what he's
actress.
talking about? Misery? Oh my
It's
God.
it's a Stephen King.
When it ever comes on TV, make sure you guys watch it. It'll scare the living daylights out of you.
But anyways, so Hegel itself, not too fancy looking at it, but a great product. Just like Kathy Bates, she's not too pretty,
Oh, really?
Oh, come on.
Come on, Lewis.
but what a fantastic actress. Anyways, hooked it up yesterday and played some of my favorite tracks, Nina Simone and Bob Baldwin, and some other vocals, female vocals. Honestly, I was not impressed. The bass was a bit flabby. The treble seemed recessed. It wasn't as what I'm accustomed to, or let's say the Sonus Faber, the Lumina 3. I think it's a better
But
product.
that's a floor standard.
Yeah, but in the same price range. I mean, by the time you put a stand mount on a stand, it's the same thing as a floor standing.
But floor standers and stand mounters, they act differently.
Yeah, well. So, yeah. And there was absolutely no mid-range at all. So in female vocals, I was shocked. I mean, I did not hear any mid-range. Some of the deep male vocals, I couldn't hear the chest expressions and vocalization. So basically, it's not for me. I could not recommend, and I would not buy. I have a stand mount at home, which is the Dyne Audio Special 40, and I prefer the Dyne Audio over it any day.
Now, just again, just to reiterate what I said at the beginning, and that's one of the reasons why we as a general policy, don't review products that we don't carry. Because if one of us says we don't like it, it can be easily taken the wrong way. The other thing also I should say is that none of us shared our opinions, our thoughts before the cameras started rolling. So this is the first time I've heard what Lewis has to say, and this is honest to God truth on my kids. It's always the case with our videos. We want it to be as honest and fresh as possible.
We don't even listen to it at the same time.
Right. Okay, Philip, what do you think?
Wow, that's quite, an assessment.
Philip is at the loss of words, which just never happens.
Oh, I don't have a loss for words, but I'm just trying
come on,
to
let's
couch
go.
it in a way that is going to be, not so negative.
What do you think?
I didn't like it.
Okay. That's
like
two
it.
for two.
No, I'm not going to. And we own this thing. I have to sell this thing,
Well,
Like, we have to sell it. It's not going to sit in the store forever. So I will say this. It's not as bad as you're saying, in my opinion. I heard many of the same issues. I didn't like it. But is it a bad speaker? No. It's decent.
yeah, I would not say it's a bad speaker, but comparative to what I listen to,
We personally have chosen things here in the store that exemplify a certain philosophy and certainly mid-range richness, especially in something from like Sonus Faber, regardless of whether it's Lumina or Sonetto or Olympica Nova, which is all over the place in terms of price. But they have a certain kind of truth and beauty to it that this speaker does not have. So I fell asleep listening to it.
Solitude in E minor. Yeah, E minor, all right, yeah!
I'm not kidding.
Oh, maybe I should take him home. Then I can stay asleep.
So maybe, I hope
Yeah,
you.
that's
But I
my
definitely, I was going through my
1:20 this
list.
morning.
I was actually listening to entire songs, and then midway through my list, like in some of the most beautiful songs that I have on my list, I kind of fell asleep. I dozed off. So I found it a little bit boring. I didn't find it like exciting. I didn't find that there was a projection to it in terms of musicality. I found it a little bit brittle in the top end, and I didn't really love the bass. It didn't have much depth to, but all in all, it was still a pleasant speaker. Maybe it was too pleasant, and this is why I found it a bit boring, and I was tired. It was a long day. I mean, like it was 8 o'clock, and I fell asleep.
one good thing about it, the center image is fantastic.
Oh, it images very well. What I had some issue with was the soundstage depth. I found it a little bit compressed and narrow, or not as deep as I'm used to, especially in that room, because I know that room intimately. We've listened to so many different speakers in there, and most of the stand mounters that we put in that room project much bigger sound stages than what this speaker did. Now, I have some thoughts about this speaker in terms of the way it's marketed, and this is one of the caveats that you have to be very careful about when things are distributed only online. Now, this speaker has been sent out to a whole bunch of reviewers, right? And I know some of these people, and I respect their opinions, and they're listening to the speaker, and they're saying really nice things about it. I didn't hear any of those things. And so there's the danger when you purchase online. You have to be very careful. You cannot listen to it beforehand. Now, maybe they have a really good return policy. But with this speaker, certainly, how are people who are going to fork out, say, 3,000 Canadian dollars to buy this, and then they take it home, they get it home, and they listen to it, and what are they comparing it to, or how much of their experience is going to be involved? And if they don't have enough experience, they're never going to know. So this is the thing. This is an argument. This speaker is an argument for brick and mortar stores. So someone can come into our store, listen to several different products, talk to actual people who have an experience with these things, and be able to tell you categorically, a lot more information than what you would glean from something online or from an online review. I'm sorry to say this, but it's not complete until you can actually listen to it, and even if you're not comparing to something else, but listening to it in a real space with equipment recommended by someone who has more experience. And anyways, so I basically heard all of what Lewis heard. I didn't really find the bass woolly. I just found it to be a little bit thinner. The speaker sounded quite analytical to me. The imaging was a bit weird. Sometimes I heard the imaging like lower down because the tweeter's at the bottom. It's got waveguides there, and it's a 3/4 inch tweeter, which is unusual. Most of the speakers we listen to with soft domes are 1-inch tweeters, so that could be part of it. The way the waveguide is actually constructed. So sometimes the image I found the image down here. Sometimes I found it up here. It kind of shifted a little bit, but the imaging was pretty good. You could really see roundness to and a shape to the objects that were making the sound, like the instruments and the voices. I'm neutral on this speaker. It certainly is decent, but is it really special? Not in my opinion.
So I guess the question is, would you recommend it for, say, 3,000 imported, landed, and so on?
No way.
So I'm really hesitant to say this because I did not like them at all. And I was really surprised because I've heard the speakers in two different systems at clients' homes. They were both secondary systems, and I kept thinking, well, the secondary systems, they're not all that well set up, so maybe what I heard was just system dependent, but they had this same kind of blah, nothing special. But I couldn't understand that because the few things I've read about them, the short videos that I'd watched were also, it's like miracle, incredible value, a big David versus Goliath kind of thing. And the reason that I had even paid attention to them was because a whole bunch of people started asking me anyway, what do you think of the Buchardt? At first, I had no idea what a Buchardt was. And then Jay mentioned the Buchardt. He was very impressed with it, and then on and on and on. So I started taking a look at them. I go, oh, well, good. Maybe here's a great product that will help a lot of people buy a really good product for not necessarily a lot of money. So these speakers came to us by way of a trade-in. A client of ours bought it a few months ago and decided to really step up and buy a pair of Sonus Faber Seraphinos. So we ended up with the speakers. And I have to say, when I listened to it this morning, I was dumbfounded, thinking, there's got to be something wrong with the speakers. There's got to be something, because they sound terrible. At first I thought maybe the tweeter's blown. There was no sparkle, there was no high frequency airiness, and I listened for 3 or 4 tracks, and I thought, no, copyright. So I scooched all the way down so that my ears were in line with the tweeter. So for those of you who don't know, the tweeter's inverted. Normally you look at a speaker, the tweeter's on the top, and then the bass mid-range driver is below it. But this speaker is shipped where the tweeter's at the bottom and the bass mids is on top. You can invert it, but that's how they come. So I scooched all the way down, and it helped. But I was still not getting this effortless airiness that I'm used to with most better speakers. Certainly the bass, as everybody's pointed out, is pretty good. For a small box, it does go low. The mid bass and upper bass has a nice power and roundness to it. I like that. But everything else, I was very nonplussed. There was microdynamics was mediocre at best. In other words, there's no sense of jump. When you turn the volume out, it just got louder. It didn't get any better in terms of expression. And when you turn the volume down, it just sort of fell flat and got worse.
Well, did you also find that at lower volumes, it had there was almost no life to it?
It just died.
You had to turn it up a certain amount, and then it kind of picked up a bit, but it didn't get much better than that.
It just died. So vertical dispersion is a bit of an issue. I think one of you guys mentioned that it was shouty in the treble, maybe both of you. In the upper mid-range, lower treble, it's a bit shouty. It can be a bit glary. So the funny thing is, it's glary, but without airiness necessarily. So it's not like a metallic dome tweeter, a metal dome tweeter where you get the sparkle and so on. It just seemed shouty at a particular frequency, and then the highs.
I think that waveguide actually makes a certain response more prominent, and that's probably where you're hearing.
I don't know.
Glariness.
So then I thought, okay, it could be the Hagel. Maybe it just doesn't like the Hagel. Now we use the H120, which is plenty of power for that room. So I switched over to the Peachtree GAN 400 combo, and that helped. With 400 watts of power, when I turned it up, it helped. But only if I turned it up. At low to medium volumes, it was still not all that great. Just so you know that I some examples. And they talked about soundstage. So in my experience with these speakers, the soundstage seemed to be limited between the speakers. It didn't seem to extend more than that. The image, as the guys pointed out, nice and big within the speakers, but not necessarily sharp. It was just, it had dimension, which I like, but it wasn't necessarily focused. And as Villa pointed out, there was a definite lack of soundstage depth. And in that room, we can actually get pretty good soundstage depth with small speakers in that room. I didn't also hear a lot of resolution. So one of my favorite tracks at the beginning is the Cowboy Junkies Trinity Sessions, Mining for Gold. When you turn it up, you can hear the ambience in the church and all the noise and so on. With this, I had to really stretch to hear it, and I know that it's there in the recording, yet I could barely hear it. The shouty mid-range lower treble, I used Ryan Adams' Desire. That became very obvious. Microdynamics, as I mentioned, was mediocre. I used Black Knight, Doug McLeod as an example. If you guys have my playlist, those are the first 3 or 4 cuts. With any other speaker, when Doug McLeod plays his guitar, the snap of his guitar, the microdynamics is very obvious. With this, it almost seemed like everything was pulled back. I also noticed that it can be quite sensitive to toe-in placement. So if you like the speakers and you want to experiment with toe-in, that can help you with either getting more presence. So if the speakers are very toed in, or if you want the speakers to disappear even more toe out. Other than that, it was a big disappointment for me, which I'm sad to say, because I truly was rooting for these speakers. I thought I'm always for products that will bring more people into our industry at an affordable range, and this wasn't one of the speakers that I thought. What was worse was I kept thinking, oh my God, what if the guys really liked it and I say I don't like it? It's just going to show like we're what was the word I was saying?
Colluding.
Not only colluding, but we're panning something that we don't sell, and that's definitely very far from very far from this situation. I really actually wanted to like the speakers, so for me this was a definite.
Do you know how long I wanted to like these speakers? Yeah. Because Jay mentioned them ages ago, and I said, well, let me bring them in, let me hear them, or let me borrow them. Yeah. And then he had this pair, and I had that pair, and this pair came in, and every time something came in that he reviewed, I read, I watched the review, and he was very positive about it. And again, I don't know what he heard, because based on what I heard, I didn't hear that.
So I
and he has a Hagel H120, so it's not like he's using amps that we're not using.
So when I went on their website to get these specifications, as you scroll down, you see all the other great reviews and people liking it, and there's quite a number of well-respected reviewers. Darko and Steve Gutenberg, and of course Jay, and I kept thinking, is it me? Am I going deaf? I don't. How come I'm so diametrically opposed to what they're saying? I mean, some of these guys gave Speaker of the Year, Giant Killer, and so on, and I'm thinking, I don't know what they're listening to. I have no idea. But anyway, to sum up, didn't like it.
No, not recommended on my list.
Yeah.
Would not recommend.
Philip,
I'm a more neutral, because it's still a decent speaker, but it's not what they're saying. It's like Speaker of the Year, I don't see it, or I don't hear it.
Okay. And the other two boys, what do you guys think? No?
No.
Okay, wow. Anyway, I'm so sorry that we didn't like it, but for what it's worth, as always, it's only our opinions. Hear it for yourself, see what you think, and our speaker will be for sale very, very soon.
And not at nearly the price of the new one.
Anyway, Adrian from Audio Excellence Canada, Philip, Lewis, and the two Alexes, Alex Squared. Signing off. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.